intuition, being in the moment, soaking in the aromas, savoring every sip, eating burgers and homemade sourdough. Time to cheers me.
Oh, yeah. I was a little ahead of the ball.
Okay, cheers to the qualitarian diet
Yes.
and food freedom.
Let's get into it. So, the qualitarian diet lifestyle, that's what we're discussing today.
Yeah, you put me onto this, so I give you all credit.
It wasn't really all that intentional. So, yeah. It's fun to see how it's kind of progressed and where it's gotten us now and where it continues to go.
Yeah, I want to talk about how it's kind of insane that me, of all people, like I live this way and I'm no longer thinking about food, being strict with what I eat. It's all about welcoming everything as long as it is high quality, well sourced. You know where it's coming from, you cook it yourself, all of those things. And it's changed the game for me.
But just like how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest change,
Yeah.
difference.
I think we both grew up in a time where our parents didn't know that like they're feeding us poison. They didn't know.
Many people they don't know. They're not aware of it at the time, and a lot of people still aren't aware of it. It's just, you're kind of, I don't know, blindly following regulations, and like it was cleared by the FDA, so that means it must be fine and healthy. And in reality, it's not. There's a lot of loopholes and a lot of I don't know. Essentially, once you start to educate yourself on it, which doesn't take very much at all, you start to see that it's just kind of blatant lies on a lot of labels. And when it comes to, different agencies that approve certain things, it's not necessarily just lies. It's like a lot of I don't know. It's just like a deceitful way of doing business where they kind of lead you to believe one thing. They'll like word things in a way where you might fall for it. Like you'd be like,
well,
it's
meant to
healthy.
be
It's this.
a
It's
hamster
that.
on a wheel. They want you to be that way, and that's
Yeah.
like how I definitely lived up until like
For sure,
a couple
yeah.
years ago, 2 years ago, I think. And yeah, it's wild because everyone lives, not everyone, but most people, especially Americans, live on
Yeah.
this trap in this cycle. And I was that way, like even as young as 6 years old. I remember being so terrified of just like with all the messaging. My family always said like we are not blessed with genes that will keep you skinny. You have to work 10 times harder than everyone else just to stay normal size. You'll never be skinny, and if you eat this you will get fat. And like there's just this fear of like gaining weight, and then watching not just my mom but literally every woman in my life, my friends' moms, they all were always on a diet, always struggling and talking about how it's so hard to just maintain like a weight that they're comfortable in.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt that way even as a kid. And it was all because there was just no understanding of like nature has your back. If you nourish yourself from nature, then like you're not on this struggle. You're not on this like hamster wheel of trying to like detox from poison and toxins. So I don't know. I had that like my whole life. And when I was a little kid, I got it all around because I was a competitive gymnast. So my body was like on the spotlight. Coaches would say like the judges are automatically going to score you lower because you're not beautiful to look at your body
Yes,
is
they're
not
playing into
beautiful
the
to
narrative.
watch. And yeah, and girls get this, not just girls, but most of the time girls get this. And so then it's basically on purpose though, because then they're targeted for all these food companies
Yeah.
to like continue to buy the things that are marketed as healthy. And it's just wild because I used to try everything. I tried all the diets. I tried and I thought I was being healthy, but it was such like a trap that I was always feeling out of control and always feeling uncomfortable. And I know, like, you talk about when you were a little kid, you would sometimes have like sleep for dinner, but it was because you didn't have money.
I still do that sometimes, but
Yeah, and
by choice now.
yeah, and it's crazy that my family always had money for food, but I would have sleep for dinner even as like a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
like young, because I didn't trust myself to be awake and not like be home eating. Like I felt like if I ate dinner, I wouldn't be able to stop, and I would like start binging. And so I would do that a lot. I would get home from gymnastics and like shower, go to sleep, and I would want to eat dinner, but I would be too scared that like if I ate dinner, I would not be able to stop eating. And I had that basically my whole childhood. And then what got bad is when I started to drink heavily. When I moved
it never helps.
to what was once known as the #1 drunkest town in the United States, I think.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
So when I went there for college, things got so bad because I could force myself to go to sleep instead of binge eating, but when I would go blackout drunk, I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't taste anything. So I would get home from the bars at like 2 a.m. and once all my roommates went to sleep, I would just raid the kitchen. And I have so much shame around it, but I've spent time now forgiving myself.
So you just turned into a raccoon at 2 a.m.
Horrible memories of like being blacked out. And it was actually so bad. Like I would eat my roommates like leftovers, and then the next morning I'd have to like do apology rounds of like, I'm so sorry. And they all didn't care.
Just go buy them all omelets. I'm so sorry.
I would say, I will buy you all new groceries. I'm so sorry. And they didn't care, but I felt so much
That's
shame.
Wild.
Like I know you don't know like in depth. Like I'm nervous saying this to you because I know you don't know in depth like how bad I was.
I mean, you've painted a pretty broad picture. I mean, the details are kind of irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
They do help to, just show your perspective, your point of view. And, tell your story.
Yeah, I just was someone that was very controlled by all of it. Like, every night before I went to bed, all I would think about is, like, what am I allowed to eat tomorrow? And I would, like, do an analysis of, like, okay, what do I have at home? Okay, tomorrow I'll eat this, this, and this, and that's it. You're not allowed to eat anything else. And I would have to, like, have the plan for the next day before I fell asleep every single night. And that was happening.
It sounds psychotic to someone like me who doesn't fully, like, I've never been there before, but I don't know. It makes sense.
The thing that is crazy, though, is, like, even when we met, I was that way. But, like, you always talked about, and even, like, some of my, like, roommates would be like, oh, she's so healthy. She eats so, because, like, I would eat
like a squirrel.
Well, I tried so hard to be healthy, but I also felt so unsafe with myself because I knew, like, I could lose it and I would have to, like, hide. But I was always into health. I thought I was eating healthy when I was eating, like, brown rice, broccoli, and, like,
because you're playing into
aminos, that's it.
The narrative that you've been sold.
Yeah. And so you thought I was super healthy when, like, the first year we were together, but, like, I would always go home Sunday night and, like, eat, like, a mountain of, like, quinoa myself. And it's, like, it was, like...
You may as well be eating just 7 bowls of Trix,
well,
you know?
Like...
You're eating nothing, essentially.
Yeah.
Nothing nutritious.
So I was not nourishing
You're
myself.
just crushing something. Something to fill your stomach, but nothing that fuels your body. And that's something that I like. If there's any takeaway that I ever want anyone to gain from a conversation they have with me, whether it's in the past or it's going to happen in 10 years, one thing I want anybody to remember and keep in mind is the way to look at nutrition as far as what you're eating and what you're drinking, what you're consuming is it's it's like your car, your truck, your boat, your any kind of vehicle that you are using daily. You care about it, you need it to run, you want it to run, it gets you from point A to point B, whether it's a job or to get you to vacations or whatever it is, something that you rely on. You have to put quality fuel in it. You have to put, if it requires diesel, you got to put diesel in there. You can't be cheap and say, "Oh, I'm going to use 91 this time." Your motor's going to blow up. You have to keep in mind when it comes to any of these vehicles, if you are using a poor quality fuel, you are going to get a poor output from said vehicle, pretty much. And your body's the same exact way. And if you're putting, like a watered down fuel in your body, or you're putting an off brand fuel in your body, or whatever it is, it's going to start to run differently as if, you put bad fuel in your vehicle. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't really fully understand, because they just kind of they lean into and they accept the narrative that they're sold by agencies above them. And by no means is this like a anti-government kind of speech, but at the end of the day, the government it's a business, just like any other company you can think of, any other company you can name. They run off of profits. If there was no money, they wouldn't be running. This country wouldn't exist. So they're not doing this whole, FDA clearing foods and clearing, having all these different health administrations coming in and just giving you the thumbs up on different whatever franchises of fast food restaurants or grocery stores, whatever it is. They're not doing it just out of the kindness of their heart. They're doing it because there's something in it for them. And it's not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but
No,
like,
I am.
and people like fully trust the system and they fully believe it. And I'm not saying, I'm not here to tell you you're an idiot, you're wrong, you're stupid, because I was right there not very long ago. But you have to get out of these norms that are accepted, because the rates that people are hearing nowadays about like the cancer rates and all the different diseases, and like every couple of weeks it seems like there's a new disease coming out, and there's like people are just every other week like just getting sick from like, and they're tricked into thinking it's because I went to an amusement park and I was around a bunch of strangers, so of course that's why I got sick. It's like,
Well,
no, you have a bad immune system and you went and hung around other people that also have bad immune systems, and you guys are all eating nothing but garbage.
but I think the main piece is like the chemicals in the parasites, because
Oh, I was getting there.
that's
Yeah,
what was wrong with me.
I was laying a massive foundation, but it's
Nothing
essentially where I was getting. Yeah,
nothing was wrong with me as a body and as a human, but I was not myself. I was run by chemicals and parasites that were bad. Like, I couldn't make rational decisions. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't even taste food. I couldn't even smell food. Like, everything was just like everything.
you're a robot.
I was programmed to be like consume, 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 and then it's like,
Yeah,
when is your next fix gonna be? When are you gonna get to hide and like do this? Like,
you're a food terminator.
it was wild, because it's like I didn't enjoy it, I didn't like it, but like,
Yeah.
you couldn't stop. And that's what everyone
Yeah,
says. All these people that struggle to lose weight, it's like they don't want it to be that way, but they're like, I just can't, I have no willpower. It's not about willpower though. It's literally the things that you're putting in your body are programmed to addict you
100%. Yeah,
until you cleanse that out and go back to nature and eat only things that are like natural from
Yeah.
earth. Then you're not gonna be able to think straight. You're
And
not
there's
gonna be able
a-
to make good choices.
100%. And there's a weird thing that happens where, like, I don't know, when you're in the thick of it, of like, you're you're eating the processed foods every day, like the super processed foods. You're eating the all the different artificial colorings and flavors, all the the red 40, the purple 6, the you name it. There's a million different colors and a million different numbers, but all these different artificial flavors and colors, you're eating those, and they put you into like a mindset where, like, if anyone around you even says like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about eating organic, or so and so is eating natural
Well,
and
you
doing
get
this,
pissed.
you get pissed. You get very angry. You get very like forward about your feelings. And then like when you picture it in your mind, you're like, so you're eating natural. So what? You're eating like pine nuts and what? And like, a mountain of quinoa every day. Like, you just think of absurd things because your mind is programmed to think a certain way. It's to continue consuming whatever these horrible things are. It's like an addict's mentality.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, where the most damage happens is in kids.
Yeah, so like I was an elementary school teacher, and that was like the massive problem. I believe like the reason I got chairs thrown at me, shoes thrown at me,
All the
spit
behavior
on my
problems.
face, even though
Yeah.
I was very kind to the kids.
You say that now, but
It was because they showed up every day with Takis, with red
there it is.
fruit
Yeah.
punch like drinks, like
Yeah.
every single day, and it's like these poor kids, it's not them, it's the
It's not their
chemicals.
fault,
The
yeah.
chemicals are like making them rage, and that's
Yeah.
like crazy, but you don't notice it until you don't have it. Like, I think that type of food I think it's a drug.
Pretty much.
I look at it that
Yeah.
way. Even like even if we weren't like drinking, we would get into fights because like we never really ate that badly together.
No, but it's
But
just
like it's in your system. Like
100%,
we would go to
yeah.
In-N-Out, and that's like labeled as the healthy fast food. But it's still
it's all
cooked
the same. It's
in
exactly the
seed
same.
oils.
It's
It
exactly the
still
same.
uses meat that
It
like,
might taste a little bit better than the guy down the street, but it's exactly the same.
yeah. But I want to hear like you, because I shared a bit about like when you were a kid, you didn't eat too much, but also like ever since I've known you and my family, like you seemed very picky, and you seemed like you never eat. And
Yeah.
now that we eat in a way that feels really good, you like do actually eat.
Oh, I pick
So
out
like
now.
how
Yeah.
did you
I chow down now.
before, like you would just like not eat because like it felt wrong, like how did like you must be very in tune with your body. I had to work really hard to get in tune with my body, but even before you knew all this stuff, it seems like you were, because you would just be like, I don't want that, or you would take one bite and be like, I'm not hungry, even though you wouldn't have ate for 48 hours.
No, I mean, I think the one thing that influenced me at a young age was it was a combination of two things, and two completely different random things, or two completely opposite things, I should say, not completely random. One of them being, and I mean this as no disrespect, and I'm not using this as a call out to my parents, but you know what? Let's name drop. Who cares? At this point, what are they gonna do? Sue me? No, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, life circumstance happened that was out of my control at a young age. My parents are great. I love them to death. They're amazing. They're awesome. I have no hard feelings, so I don't want anything I say to be misconstrued. But they did their best, and they gave us a very good life. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people can see eye to eye with this. When the market took a turn, it took a toll on our family and financially. And at that point was when things started to change. Our lifestyle started to change. That was when we started moving around a little bit more. Job situations changed with my dad, my mom, everything. And it kind of led us down a path of pretty much it turned us into like a survival mode of just like, well, we're going here now for 6 months. And then it was like, well, now we're going to go to a new school and then a new school. And I mean, I changed schools every single year until high school. High school was the only time that I went to the same school from freshman to senior. And before then, it literally went from school to homeschool to this school to the charter school to this to that. So that's how confusing, how lost it was for us that time. And so the goal, like I said, was survival. And I mean, at that time, I was also consuming a lot of like Bear Grylls type material. I was watching the Man vs. Wild stuff, cause just to escape reality. It's fun. It's entertaining. This is a guy that's doing his thing, and me and my friends growing up, um, we all tried to do that when we had property. We were all out there, putting leaves and sticks and dirt into shirts and washing water through it, trying to act like we could filter it. So I was fascinated with that. And I remember, like, I don't know, I just soaked up certain facts about the human body. And two of those facts being, and I'm sure by now they've been either debunked or changed or whatever, but I remember hearing, and it stuck with me from like age 6 until now, that the human body can go 2 weeks without food and 3 days without water. And for some reason, it like stuck with me, and it like I don't know, it resonated with me because I was like I always grew up where I was very picky at a like even before anything started to kind of go take a nosedive and life started getting not hard because obviously I was a kid, but before things started to change and get like less comfortable, I should say. Um, to where like my grandma, it was like normal for her to make all these casseroles and all this stuff, and they still make it to this day, and some of them like it, some of them don't, whatever. I hated it. I remember one Thanksgiving, I got stuck at the table after like 20 people ate, kids, all my cousins, everybody ate, and I got stuck at the table with my great grandfather because he eats slow because he at the time was like a 90-year-old man. He has since passed on, rest in peace. Um, but he was sitting there taking his time eating, and I didn't finish all my food because I did not want my food. I was done. I had my one piece of ham and I had my one piece of bread, and I didn't want the rest of this. I didn't make this plate. I don't want this. And in my head, it always was kind of like a mind over matter thing. It was like, just stick it out. Just stick it out. And I was like, I'm not eating it. Well, you're gonna have to sit here with your grandpa. Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. It's funny watching him eat because he likes to talk to me while he's eating. Whatever. And so I always kind of like had that like in me. It was just like I don't know. It sounds corny saying it, but I almost in a way my earliest memories was like hearing it from Bear Grylls that like the human body can go X amount of time without food and X amount of time without water. It almost like reassured me that like if I don't like something and it doesn't make me feel well and like it doesn't sound good, it doesn't sound like it's gonna appease me like that much, then I'm not gonna have it. I'm not gonna die because I said no.
Yeah.
And that just kind of I just carried that on, and it was like subconscious for a long time. It was
That
never
is
a
so
conscious thing.
rare. That's so rare because, like, Americans, I would say Americans, they feel like they have to eat at least breakfast, lunch, and dinner and
I hear it
snacks.
all the time.
And if they don't, like, they're gonna die. And, like, you would never eat. And I would always, like, be extra nervous about that of, like, oh my God. Like, he doesn't know that I'm, like, going home and eating like crazy. So I would, like, try to eat a little bit. But I feel like, too, for some reason you had like this innate sense that like what's in the casseroles came from cans and boxes, and it was all processed mixes and packages.
I wish I could say I was.
But like looking back in hindsight, like can't you tell that like cuz now you do like not eat some mornings, but for the most part you're eating every single day, multiple meals,
Yeah.
and you enjoy it, and it's because of the way we cook now. But like anytime someone makes something and it's like you don't know exactly how it's made, and now because of you, like I'm the same way. Like
Yeah.
if I don't know what they cooked it in, I don't know, like it to me it tastes
I don't know where
gross.
it came from. Yeah.
And
I'm not
also
touching
like
it.
the energy behind it, like I'm not comfortable, and it does affect your digestive system so much. Like if someone
100% does.
is cooking at a restaurant and they hate their job, that like negative energy goes into the food, and they're
Yeah.
cooking it in seed oil, so it's like inflammatory. Like everything does
It all
affect.
culminates together and affects your body, and then people wonder why, they're like, I went to PF Chang's. It was nice. It was a nice place. I don't know why my stomach feels like it's going to explode, and I feel like I have lung cancer at the same time. Like, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's exactly why. And I don't know. until people start to accept that as reality, it will never change their ways and their habits, because constant, like, it's a weird, like, innate thing that people have, that humans have, and I've been there, you've been there, everybody's been there, is we all have this innate ability to, like, deny reality for what it is. Because oftentimes when there's an issue, the simplest answer is oftentimes the correct answer.
Yes.
And it's like, when you think about it overall, the simplest answer is the guy who made your food hates everything about life, and he just murdered this chicken in cold blood with a shovel.
And that chicken
And
lived a horrible life.
the chicken lived a shitty life in a garage and was just miserable for its entire existence because it had this overlord. And then this guy also went down to Walmart and bought some shitty seasonings that were made in someone's basement. You know, it's like,
Well, they're more made in factories with,
which is not
the
really much
same
better.
bad energy. Yeah.
But it's like all this stuff culminates into, like, what you end up consuming. And what you consume is, like, once again, back to the quality of fuel you put in your vehicle dictates the output.
And dictates who you are. Your cells are made from everything that you consume. You literally are what you eat. And your food affects your mood.
It affects your behavior. It affects your mood. It affects, obviously, we can all focus on, like, the physical aspect of food. And, like, if you're eating good food, bad food, you're going to start to get a gut. But I know plenty of people that eat nothing but garbage all day, and they're really thin, but I can tell by their behavior that their insides look like a burned out car.
I think that's the craziest part, especially for me, because I've always been so insecure about my weight, even though I've never been someone that was overweight. But I was always just, like, told, like, you gotta watch out. You're, like, you don't have the skinny genes. I don't have the genes like the people that do. That's what, but that's, like, not true. But that's what I was told. So that's
fake
what
news.
I believed.
It's fake news.
Exactly. But the second I, like, let go of all those thoughts of, like, oh, my genetics are bad, my metabolism's slow, I just wasn't blessed with the skinny body. Like, once I let go of that and started just focusing on, like, what can I have that is from the earth, like food that is whole foods that I can cook, and then how can I, like, take my time and really enjoy it instead of just shoveling things in for no point, like, no reason,
just to get substance.
But the second I started doing that, and once it, like, basically cleansed all the toxins, I've never struggled with my weight. I've never, like, been, like, I've never had to have those thoughts of, like, my body is gaining weight, or, like, I'm uncomfortable in the way that I look, like, and that is wild coming from me. Like, for 24 years I was, like, consumed by
you
that.
were nuts even when I first met you.
I know. And now I do not think about it, and I eat absolutely whatever, and that's a huge, like, caveat. I eat anything as long as I know exactly where it came from. Yeah. Did I grow it myself? Did the farmer grow it himself that I talked to? And I'm that way with all food and all wine. So now I'm like you. You probably won't catch me at a family reunion eating, even if it's, like, my great aunt made it. I'm not eating that. I don't know what she did. I don't know what she did.
I'm still not eating.
No.
And I don't feel bad about it at all.
So we're not going out to dinner with friends. We're probably not going to dinner parties, because, and that's, like, a problem, though. I think that should be another episode of, like, connection and, like, human connection around high quality food. But I think not enough people have made it be the norm that, like, you do not cook with, like, pesticide covered stuff. You don't make Hamburger Helper and serve that to your guests. Like, you don't buy things from a package. Like, don't do it. Like, we're not coming, like, people say, like, it's unhealthy to not, like, have the community around you, but, like, if the community is, if, like,
the community's fucked up, then
I'm not eating it. I don't want to go. I don't want to go out to dinner to restaurants because I want to cook it myself. And so I think that's, like, a huge thing that we can talk to soon about, like, the socializing part of it, because the way we've done it though at home is like we cook together, and it's such a moment. Like we cook together and eat dinner together, and like
Yeah.
it's like
And
such a vibe.
it's intentional. There's a lot of positive energy that goes into it, and there's a lot of good conversations that are had while the process is, being undertaken.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, yeah, and not to mention obviously like the quality of food, everything that goes into it is very thought out and very intentional. Um, but yeah, it's kind of a two-part thing when it comes to food. It's like one thing is the quality of where it's sourced, how it's sourced, all that, and then the
The
other
health
part,
of the soil that it was in.
yeah, exactly. It's all about the quality of where it came from. Um, and then the other thing is the energy that goes into bringing everything together
Mm-hmm.
and cutting everything up and boiling this and frying that and
And
doing
saying
whatever it
thank
is.
you to the animals if you're using
Yeah,
animals, saying thank you to the plants.
yeah.
I think that's all good energy, and I do that. And you used to think I was weird for doing that, and it works.
I still do think it's funny, but we own. I hate to say own. It's a terrible term. We are lucky enough to have all these different creatures that trust us with their their safety and security. Um, that I don't think it's so weird anymore. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Captain's got his bottom teeth out right now. He looks like a goofball.
So it's been like maybe 2 years of us really doing this, and we cook together. Even like
It's been a year like strong.
yeah, year of
Yeah.
like really strict with it. You have your things, like you make our tortillas homemade. I make
Yeah.
our sourdough loaves, sourdough bagels, sourdough ciabatta rolls.
Yep.
You normally do like the burgers, and I'll do, whenever we do pizza and Caesar, I do the Caesar and you do the pizza, but I make the sourdough pizza dough.
Yeah.
But just like all the things homemade, and we do it together.
All grass-fed beef.
amazing.
All
Just knowing like where things are coming from is key.
Yeah, but I want to get more into the like, kind of like selling people on, because I feel like we kind of drifted off of it for a while. Just like examples of the behaviors that, like the
Yeah.
negative behaviors
Well,
that come
it's
from the common diet.
it's
Of
not
people.
just food, it's also alcohol, but it's
Of
more than
course, yeah.
anything, it's the chemicals. So for about a
Yeah,
year,
alcohol we can all kind of agree on that if like, depending on the environment and what's going on in your own head going into it, whatever your thought process, obviously alcohol is something that, good or bad, it changes your mood. So, for the sake of conversation, we can leave alcohol out of it.
okay.
But strictly about like the food and like the chemicals that are commonly found in the food, and like I know you talked a little bit about like it affecting like the children's behaviors,
Yeah, my students.
getting a fucking chair thrown at you
More than once.
several times. uh, no, but like how they affect like behaviors, like all the way down to like simple shit, like your boss treating you like shit. It's like, well, yeah, because he stopped at McDonald's this morning, and that's why he's all stressed out all the time. He's creating this environment for himself. He smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and he, back to the alcohol, he drinks every night, and he eats his 7-Eleven breakfast in the morning. No wonder why he's so poorly behaved every day, and he's very rude to everybody. But it's a big thing for kids, obviously, because their systems are very limited on like what they can take in and like how long it takes to process it and get it out of their system. And unfortunately, almost every single item that a child would eat nowadays, whether it's the cereal when they wake up in the morning, or the Doritos or the Takis or the Cheetos, or whatever microwave sandwich they're going to have for lunch at school, or the bagel bites they're going to have for dinner, or whatever it is. And these are all things I used to be subjected to. But they never have enough time to let anything filter out. So it's just a constant thing until they pretty much retrain their body into, this is normal.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly how I should feel. This is what my life should be. This is how my mindset should be. And
it's a rage mindset.
Yeah, it's 100% rage.
I was in it.
100%.
You asked my parents how I was as a teenager.
Yeah.
Rage, but it's because of the chemicals. And I think the clearest example, this is why I brought up alcohol. I thought you were going to talk about the time with me a couple months ago.
I was going to get to that, yeah.
So I've been on this train for at least a year strong of like only eating from nature. I cut out all alcohol.
Do you want to tell us or you want me to tell?
I'll tell the lead up and then you can tell. Yeah. But the only alcohol I drink is if I like literally know the winemaker and it's natural wine. We know the vineyard and the practices. But I think this was almost a year ago now. It was like in June last year. So it's been like a year. Something but like that, still for some reason I was eating this way. I went all natural, but I loved an Aperol spritz, and I, for some reason, thought, like, as long as I know where the champagne came from, the Aperol spritz is fine. Like, it's just champagne, and I know the champagne is from a high-quality vineyard. It was a sparkling, not
Prosecco. Yeah, it's not even
not an
Prosecco.
Actual champagne, but a sparkling. But
kicking people, dude.
So I had really detoxed for quite a long time at that point. Yeah. So I wasn't used to any chemicals in the body. But one day we love to like go on picnics at the lake that's near our house. And I was like, hey, let's bring some champagne and Aperol and have some Aperol spritzes, have a little sandwich, sit by the lake and hang out. And what happened?
Well, it was a nice day that day for a little bit. So we go down there, and I was not personally interested in having any of those. I wasn't personally interested in partaking of that substance. So I had brought with me, I believe, like 2, maybe 3 craft beers that were sourced, not like they weren't Miller Lights or something like that.
They were from a brewery that's like right in town.
Yeah, which, it's alcohol. It's not the healthiest thing in the world, but it's not a factory farm type vibe. Whatever. I enjoy it. Fuck you if you're criticizing me.
Well, maybe someone else feels like shit when they drink it, and that's fine. But
that's
you
fine.
Personally feel good.
That's fine. Some people feel great when they drink
certain like high quality tequilas, and
that's fine. I respect it. That's fine. Personally,
I will never.
I am not interested in tequila. Yeah. I've had a couple different high quality tequilas, and they taste exactly the same as a $7 tequila at a gas station. That is my opinion. You are free to have your own. So I'm not here to step on anybody's point of view. Anyways, yeah, I had like 2 or 3 different small craft beers that I brought with me. I wasn't feeling the sparkling wine vibe that day. We go down there. I crack open my first one. I make her Aperol spritz, and
it's not an Aperol spritz. It was just champagne with Aperol.
Yeah, technically it's not like an Aperol spritz. Any bartender on here, they're gonna crawl through the screen and rip my head off.
Basically mimosa, but use Aperol instead of orange juice. That's
pretty much.
What I was having.
Yeah, it's essentially what it is. And this is something that we've partaken of several times before this.
Yeah.
But it had been a long while for me. I really had stayed away from that for a long time. It just stopped really sounding ideal. And even you had kind of taken a step back.
Yeah, I hadn't had it in a long time.
But not like intentionally. It was just like, it just doesn't really sound good anymore. It feels kind of heavy. Let's just not do that.
Should have stuck with that.
Now you know. It's like the age-old.
I've never had it since. So tell
age-old, a wise old man once told me, you fuck around, you're going to find out. So you had to essentially goof around and find out. So yeah, we got there, got settled. We're having a nice chat. We were talking about, I believe, the wedding.
Our original wedding venue.
We were talking about how we thought it was funny that we were crazy enough to think we were going to do an actual wedding. Because at this point, we had decided we weren't going to do like the whole big wedding thing. We thought it was funny, and we were discussing what we were going to possibly do next, when we're going to do it, that kind of deal. I'm about halfway through my beer. She's getting started with the Aperol Spritz. And there was a weird shift about halfway through her drink where it went from us sitting here like how we are right now, like talking and chatting, to where it was almost as if she was possessed. And not like in a creepy, weird way, but like she just kind of like zoned out. And like you could just see like it like more it progressed more and more into like you were not in control of what was going on.
I was feeling buzzed, but I think I felt
the fun was gone.
I started raging, and
the fun was gone.
I didn't have any thoughts of why. I just was like,
the fun police came in and arrested you
all over, and I just thought I was buzzed, but I started to rage.
Yeah, no, it was a problem for sure, but I didn't really notice it at first. I was just kind of like, we were chatting and we're sitting there lakeside. She stands up, walks 5 feet forward to the water, and is just staring out into the distance.
See, I was trying to ground because I knew, like, I'm feeling so mad. Like, but I actually wasn't thinking straight at all. But I think my body's, like, getting the
Your
water.
body is, but your mind is just going completely the opposite direction. And so I'm not really paying much attention, and I'm just kind of, like, out of it, just like I thought we were still having the same conversation. And she finishes her drink. And there starts a little bit of like bickering about like there was like a rope swing right there. And I said something like, does anybody actually let their kid, kind of go on this thing? It looked rickety. It looked like it was any minute a kid was going to smash his head on a rock. Like, this is a stupid setup. And it was met with confrontation, like something about like, oh no, why don't you go ride it? Like, something crazy. It's just like, what are you talking about? It was just met with confrontation that caught me off guard. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. She's buzzing hard, whatever, that's fine. I figured, let's make her another one. So I make you another one, give it to you. By the time I sit back down to finish my first drink, I realize it's basically I'm looking into the devil's eyes. Just the amount of rage and like it wasn't an angry face. It wasn't like you were looking for it, just like It was just like the way you were just like looking. It was just like a cold, soulless, angry, pissed off. And it was like, what did I do? Did I do something? Did I say something wrong? I was like, oh man, I did something wrong. And what really made it super clear for me was we were both there. She was on Pluto. But I was scrolling through Zillow because at one point we were talking about like houses in the area. I wonder what the most expensive house here on the lake is, kind of deal. Yeah. I was scrolling through, and the venue for the wedding was for sale. The whole winery, vineyard, the house, everything was for sale on Zillow. And I started talking about it, and that was when like I noticed, because you were pretty much just like blew me off. Just like, I don't care. Why are we still talking about this? And it was like, nobody ever voiced that we were done talking about this. And like, what the hell? We were fine. You were fine 30 seconds ago. What are you talking about? And it just blew up into this whole deal. And it wasn't like a rage argument of just like, I hate you, you suck. It was just like, none of it made any sense.
I just remember I kept saying, I don't care. I don't
That's
care.
Pretty much what
and
it was.
Every
It was
time,
just like,
then you would try to like change.
What?
You were being sweet. You would try to change the subject and just like talk to me about something else, and I would just be like, I don't care.
I'm like, so what are we doing here? What's going on? Why are we here? You want to just go home? No. If you want to go home, you can go home. Like, okay, all right. It was just like so extreme. I was like, okay. So then at a certain point, I did kind of get like,
you left me.
I was like, all right, that's fine. You want to sit here? You need to chill the hell out. The house is 5 minutes away. I'll be back for you, but you need to chill out. So I drove home.
That is mean. I don't think you should have done that.
That was mean, but I was trying. You were mean initially. Yeah. You started it. You started it. So yeah, I went home. I was just like, I'm going to hang out with the dogs for like 10 minutes. Just relax a little bit. And as soon as I pulled in the driveway, I got a call. Where are you at? Like, I'm at the house. So you're just going to leave me here? Like, yeah, that's what you wanted. You didn't want to talk to me. Like, you were nuts. You're losing your mind.
Yeah, we raged.
And
I raged. I couldn't get over it till the next day.
it took a while, yeah.
And how did you figure out that, like, why I was acting that way? Because I didn't know. I woke up and I was like, I feel so guilty and, like, so much, like, anxiety. Because I don't know, like, why it was like that. And it's like, it's like a.
Fortunately, the day ended with just like we got home and it was just like, okay, you need to just go to sleep. This day is over and done with.
And it was a familiar morning feeling.
Yeah.
But not in a long time. So I was, like, confused. Like, why was I like that? Like, what's going on? Because I remember feeling like this, but not in, like, a long time. Like,
so
years.
What I can remember exactly what made it so clear. So, like I said, even when I was, like, talking about my childhood, like, I just kind of, like, followed, like, the natural patterns of, like, you know, it doesn't feel good anymore. I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, like, why I stopped drinking, like, the Aperol Spritz. I used to like it. It was great.
Yeah.
Then I started, like, just getting to a point where it's, like, it didn't sound good, didn't feel good, didn't feel great. And that was about the time that we had started kind of doing more research into, like, the artificial flavors and all the different colorings and all that kind of stuff. And so we had known enough to know that, like, these things exist, like, and they affect your behavior. At the time, we didn't know that about Aperol. We didn't know that about limoncello. We didn't know that about any of this stuff.
Oh yeah, I put
We just, like,
limoncello in it too.
We just assumed it was, like, it was fine. It's just a grapefruit liqueur or something like that, whatever it is. And
I thought it was an Italian vibe, and I love Italian wine. So I was like,
it's
oh,
allegedly, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
Aperol,
Yeah.
But I bet you real Italians don't even drink that. It's just a tourist
No,
thing.
hell no, they don't.
I think.
No, it's just white people trying to be cultured, idiots. No, the following week, I was working out of town, and I walked into a grocery store to get, I don't remember what. I'd gotten off work, and I checked into the hotel, and then I went to the grocery store to get, like, something stupid. I don't remember. And I was walking down the aisle where they had all the, like, the sodas and the, like, the beer and everything. And in the section, I think it was like a Safeway. In the section, they had a small, like, closed door refrigerated deal where they had a bunch of glass bottles of different, like, I don't know if they were, like, specialty alcohol or whatever it was. And I remember seeing, like, a bright, like, orange and red sticking out. And I was like, it, like, caught my eye. I was like, what's that? And it was like an Aperol Spritz right across the front of it. And I walked up to it. I was looking. I was like, what in the world? That's Aperol Spritz? That's crazy. And it said on there, sparkling wine, Aperol, and it was like a derivative of limoncello. And right on the front of the package, it said, contains red 40, yellow 6. Right there on the front.
That must be some new law, I think, because that would not go on the front. They would hide that.
I remember seeing that right
letters.
away, and I was like, that's it right there. Like, all the research we've done, every conversation we've had about how it affects your mood, your behavior, we had cleansed ourselves from it. We had gotten away from it.
And I talked about how that was the reason why my students acted so
Yeah, we talked about, like,
bad.
that's why you got a chair thrown at you last Thursday. That's exactly why.
I was like, it's because of the red 40 in that drink.
And then you leaned into the narrative and became one of them.
Yeah.
So
I never had an Aperol Spritz again, and I do not miss them. That's the thing that I think is the biggest thing with all of this is I don't miss any of it. I do not miss an Aperol Spritz. I do not miss like an In-N-Out. We had burgers tonight. It's wild to think anyone would be like, "Oh, I just want a fast food burger." Like that sounds like
thought of going
throw up. To me, like it sounds just as appetizing as eating throw up. All of it.
Stop trying to draw attention off of us.
It's hard to think that when you're in it. Like I was so caught up in the patterns of like the addiction.
Oh, of course.
That like it doesn't feel like you could ever get to that place.
No, now like the thought of going to like Burger King and getting a Whopper or whatever they call it, it sounds to me like eating horse food. It sounds terrible. It's like, no, it's just, I don't know. It changes because at the end of the day, I don't know, it's like a reverse effect of what happens to people when they start getting on those crazy diets of like, they don't care. They're going to eat at Wendy's and Arby's and they don't care. It rewires your brain into thinking that's normal. So then the idea of eating healthier and eating consciously and maybe taking 16 hours off of eating and maybe drinking 2 gallons of water a day instead of half a water bottle
Sodas.
or whatever it is. It like it starts to rewire your brain into thinking that like what maybe I'm doing or what your friend's doing is completely like psychotic,
Yeah.
and vice versa. Like I look at it now, like I see people that I work with to this day that, I mean, there's one guy today that even he's an older guy. He's, I don't know, in his 50s. He's had 2 heart attacks in his life. Still walking around, still fine. But he eats like nothing all day. He has like at least 2 Monster energy drinks a day. Smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And if he eats anything at all, it's Burger King or Carl's Jr. That's it. And today, he literally left early because he was saying that he was like short of breath and he felt like he was going to start, like he was getting close to having a heart attack. It's like, I don't know. It's like once you know these things, and I honestly, I don't give a shit if it's going to make me sound like a bad person. I don't feel bad when people are at that point. Like, I don't want people to suffer. I'm not like sitting here being like, ha, told you so, bitch. It's not like that. It's just like, I can't sit there and be like, oh no, the government lied to us and they approved all these bad foods. It's like, dude, you could have done the same exact research. You could have paid attention to the same signs, the same bad feelings you had in your body that I pay attention to, that my neighbor pays attention to, that my friend pays attention to, that you pay attention to. You very easily could have been like, oh yeah, that makes me feel terrible. I don't know if I should be doing this anymore.
But I
But you
will
don't. You
say,
just trust. You're like, well, it's supposed to be good for us.
but it's a full journey of like reprocessing everything you've ever been told, everything you've ever known. Like we did not do this overnight. Like it
No,
took
no, of
me a
course
lot
not.
of years.
And I'm still learning. We're still learning.
Exactly. But like the main thing is like once you quit holding and hanging on to every word like people say of like the new healthiest diet is the Mediterranean diet, the new healthiest diet is the carnivore diet, the new healthiest it's like once you stop with that, like no diets, cancel
No,
the diets.
I hate all the diets.
That's why we
the diets
said
suck.
cheers to the qualitarian diet, because that literally just means if you know it's from a good source, it's a high quality whole food, then your body will enjoy it. Like listen to your body. There's so many things about like gluten-free, dairy-free. Like all you need to do is like check where it's coming from, check how the land and the animals and the product was treated. Was it sprayed with with chemicals or pesticides? And then also check like how does your body respond after it? Because your gut is always changing. So like maybe you are sensitive to dairy, but then you need to take it off for a month, heal your gut, and then you might be able to try it again if it's like a really good source dairy from like a high quality farm. So it's just about
Oh, you're getting greedy.
I didn't ask for it. It's the journey though, and I think where you said though, like you don't feel bad for people, but I think about like people who are that age, like in their 50s, like this type of information was not out, and it's been out now, but to like for us reprogramming 20 years is easier than reprogramming 50 years of being in your pattern, stuck in your ways.
Yeah, and so like I don't mean like, I don't know, because shit, at some point in the future, someone's probably gonna clip what I said a minute and a half ago and be like, destroy this motherfucker. But
I don't think it matters.
I don't mean it in like a negative way of like, I hate your lifestyle, it sucks. But it's just part of your experience. It's part of, and unfortunately, people that are in that age range of like the 40 to 60 age range, they were taken advantage of the most.
Yeah.
And they were propagandized the most. They were led to believe things that it took a long time. It like people that were 15 years old in 1965, 1970. It took them until almost 2000 to realize, if they like searched and did the research, that maybe mac and cheese isn't actually have cheese in it. Like you know, it took a long time for that to happen. And that's why I'm not trying to say like, they suck, your life's stupid, your life's worthless, you're an idiot. But I very easily, just like anybody else, could have continued down the path
Yes.
of like just leaning into the narrative. Captain, if you could stop bothering me right now, that would be greatly appreciated. It's a nice big smile right there. But I don't know. I don't mean it in like a bad way of like I don't have any feeling. I do, honestly, in a way. I do feel, I don't know, I feel badly towards this individual for how badly he was misled and how he hasn't, done the research, hasn't learned anything. He just continues to move forward. And I don't know. But at the flip side of it is like I look at it in a way of anybody who just like thinks that, yeah, it's right here in front of me. It's been approved. It's in a vending machine, so that means I could eat it and it's fine.
They're
It's like,
being sheep.
you're an idiot.
You gotta stand up.
You're
Take control
a
of
fucking
your
idiot.
life, or else it will be run for you by the parasite.
And that's unfortunately what's going on.
Yeah.
Is
Well, my main point.
you think you're in control, but you're not.
not.
You're not.
But the whole point is, though, like what we've done is not hard. What was hard was battling like my self-hatred, the discomfort, all the things that came from being addicted to like the normal American diet and being on all the diet trends, trying all the wellness trends. That was hard to like juggle that like feeling of discomfort, feeling of not liking the way you look, feeling like you're out of control. That's hard. Since we've started eating high quality, well sourced
your
things
self
from
worth
nature,
improves
I've
significantly.
never like it's never been easier to like turn away the things that are like I don't even register those things as food anymore. So if someone offers me like, oh, do you want to go to McDonald's?
No,
I'm
that's
like,
dog food.
what?
I don't want
Like,
that.
what do you mean? Like it's not hard. And so I think that's the biggest thing. If you're so deep in it and you're like, I could never do that, it's too hard. Like it's not. It's the easiest thing ever. All you have to do is just start cooking real food, and then very naturally you won't even have to try. It's like your body will then just soon only want
and then
that.
like what did we like, sorry Captain, like we started with like the simplest thing. We didn't start with like where we're at now with the Thrive Market and trying to grow our own vegetables.
I've been having Thrive Market since college,
but we started,
and I used
like
to buy like the cookies and stuff on there.
Hey dingus. No, like when we would like make meals, like when we didn't live together before then, we would just go to like Safeway.
No, I never did. I always have been like a Trader Joe's girly, but I thought it was healthy to like eat the frozen Trader Joe's meals.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I've always cooked. I've always cooked, but my thing was a lot of alcohol, and also like not knowing like about the like grass-fed beef, pasture-raised organic eggs.
Yeah, no, those
like
are
not knowing
big
those
factors.
type of things.
But I'm just saying, like, to give like inspiration to somebody else. It's like you don't have to start with the like you want to get
your
there.
own food,
You
which
don't
is
have
like
to get
where
there.
we're at now. We're
but it's just
trying
like
to grow
even
everything.
like getting in the habit of go to a Trader Joe's, go
and
to a
pick out
Sprouts, go
organic.
to a Nugget Market, go to a Whole Foods, whatever it is in your area.
No, do Sprouts, but that's way too expensive. So if you can't go
Sprouts
to Sprouts,
is absurd.
but that's the best one.
But
if you can't go to Trader Joe's, and just do not go into the frozen food section.
No, of course, yeah,
Only
stay away from that.
Get organic produce. Pick up some pasture-raised organic eggs. That's it. Stay away from their like mixes of like.
No, I was just voicing like for me before you lived here, like just getting started, getting in the habit of leaning towards that, and then like once you like go to a store and you try to do your best to pick out the right ingredients for this meal, it like hooks you in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but in like a good way where you start to pursue things the opposite way instead of like this whole, you know, going to McDonald's for dinner every night. You start to pursue, and you get to a point where we're at now.
And you love cooking. You have the magic chef touch. Everything he makes
Tastes
tastes
shit.
10 times better than when I make it. And I don't understand that because I cook more than you. But you have like the intentionality of like every crack of pepper is like exactly the right amount. I'm a little bit more like, let me just throw all these together and it's good. But then when you do it, it's like,
I've never said a
this is
negative
like,
thing about how you cook. What are you talking about?
I know, but I notice.
This is just self-deprecation.
No, I notice every time you make it, it's like a little bit elevated.
What are you wagging your tail about, dude?
Our dog Captain is always going to be laying here with us. He looks crazy.
You can kind of see him. He's been moving around this whole time.
Well,
Thank you for the compliments on my cooking. I don't want that to go unsaid.
You have a chef's touch.
Well, who knows? I might surprise everybody in the future.
Well, we're sharing recipes, so
Yes.
I will be posting the day this drops the burger recipe we had, the magic sauce that Levi says I'm not allowed to share the recipe. We put the sauce on everything, but I will share it.
It's a multi-million-dollar industry.
No,
right
I'll
there.
share it with you. You can make it yourself.
No.
And cheers to qualitarian.
Cheers to qualitarian.